4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Some things to talk about. I want to do an update on this. Invasion. The invasion of the United States. Now, you know you're getting tired of me talking about it, but it has to be talked about because there's so many things happening. As the clock winds down, very interesting things are happening. Now, in this invasion, a lot of the women and children have turned back, and they are leaving the convoy, and they are headed back to Honduras in fear of what will happen to the children. So a lot of the women and children are on their way back to Honduras because they're afraid. And you would say, well, that seems to be lessening the threat. However, now, apparently several thousand additions from Mexico have now entered into this convoy. So it seems as though the balance is still on the increase, even though there were some of the women and children that left the convoy. Apparently, there's been an addition to the convoy, and the invasion is still a severe striking force. Now, the problem with this invasion of the United States that's approaching, nobody knows where they're going to do it at. They don't know where they're going to hit the border. And like I said, it could be a three-pronged attack. There could be a group hit Tijuana or up in the Arizona area, and another piece attack the border or overrun the border in the El Paso area. And the third-pronged attack could happen in the Laredo, Brownsville area. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the response of the United States. First, there was word that the United States was sending 500 troops, National Guard, to assist, realizing that this isn't enough. Another 1,400 was added. Now, the scuttlebutt is, according to RT News, 5,400 troops have now made their way to the borders from Tijuana to Brownsville. 5,400 troops with all of their toys and weapons. So one would have to ask, what's up with that? But it is what it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, President Trump decided that he was going to see if he could write a presidential order and stop the law that says if illegal aliens had children in the U.S. that they were immediately U.S. citizens. So the president wanted to sign an executive order undoing this law. Now he's still after it. He still wants to undo this law before the invasion. He doesn't want illegal aliens to enter into the U.S. by the thousands that are pregnant and have children. This is a loophole. And I don't know where this loophole came from, but that's what it is. And President Trump is doing his best to make America great again, and it seems like every direction he takes, he's fought. They fight him tooth and nail, and they don't want him doing nothing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this invasion is nothing short of a national emergency, a travesty, and a full-pronged invasion attack against the United States border. Now, we know not every one of them were criminals, per se, but here they come, and they're still on the way. Oh, it's just a rumor. Oh, no, it ain't no rumor, ladies and gentlemen. It's real. It's very real. It is absolute truth, and they're coming, and they're not stopping. Now, whatever has to happen, has to happen. Do we just send everybody away and go back home and just let them stream over and just see what happens? Maybe they'll all be good citizens, get jobs, pay taxes, earn their own way like the rest of us, work their butts off, pay their Social Security, do whatever they have to do to be good little citizens. But I don't think this is the plan at all. I don't think any one of them wants to be a good little citizen. There may be a few. Sometimes I get a little carried away when I'm talking, but there may be a few that want to be good citizens. But if you ask me, the cartel is thinking opportunity knocks. Opportunity knocks to move a mass quantity of drugs into the United States. This is where they can make their biggest money, right here. You can't tell me they're not going to be involved. And because of what they're about to do, you can't tell me that it's not going to affect the real citizens of the United States and even the children. It is going to affect the children. One way or another, the children are going to be affected. What about our people? What about our children? What about our jobs? What about our Social Security? What about everything that we've put in? Yeah, okay, so I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me because I paid my Social Security, and I've come to the age of retirement, and I've retired on my Social Security. It's my money. I put it in. You didn't put it in. Bubba didn't put it in. Junior didn't. I put it in. Yeah, it was all put into a big pile, but it was tallied, and they give me what they think I should get. Whatever. So now these citizens are coming down. That seemed the natural. Now let's look at it from the spiritual. On the spiritual side, I see evil. And I see hate. And I see the demonic co-conspirators making a move. bring the United States into chaos at a very important time. And in the spiritual, that's what I see. Now, Brother Ed, are there people that can be saved? Oh, I'm sure that there are people in this convoy that could be saved. There's no doubt. Now, how do you get to them? Well, you're going to have to wait for them to trickle into your community and witness to them there. Because I believe when they hit the border, it's going to be violent. I do believe it's going to be violent. Because the demonic co-conspirators don't have any other thing in mind except hate, evil, and violence. That's what they do. Now, God can stop it. And this is another thing to consider in the spiritual. What these people can't see because they're blinded by the demonic mafia. Here's the thing they can't see. They can't see the fact that God can stop it. He can stop it with an earthquake. The earth could open up and swallow the people, just like the ocean of the Red Sea or the Red Sea swallowed Pharaoh's army. Many things can happen. Tornadoes, storms, volcanoes, fire and brimstone from hell, from heaven falling down. Lots of things can happen in the spiritual. We'll just have to wait and see. Wait and see what God's going to do for America. But I got to question myself and ask myself, what has America done for God except murder thousands of innocent babies because of bureaucratical law protecting their own selves, protecting their own selves from children that are being born out of wedlock because of the adultery. Now, just a few hours ago, we had 800 troops land in my state just south of where I live. 800 troops. I pray that it's enough. I pray that it's enough, 800 troops. Now, with that being said, we have new information today from China. A new warning from China versus the United States in the South China Sea. China says, you better get ready to go to war if you don't leave us alone. We can build whatever we want in the South China Sea. Oh, you don't believe that? Really? Really? You don't believe that there's a mess going on in the South China Sea? Is that it? It's just scuttlebutt. Well, you wrong. You wrong. China's gave a warning to the United States. Are we listening? And then we slammed them with tariffs. Now they're really mad because of the trade war now, the big trade war. I mean, I could talk about news for the whole 30 minutes. But quite honestly, I get bored with this news because it's the same stuff over and over happening in these end times. And if you can't see it, you really are blind. but I have bigger fish to fry. Another one of the reasons why this program was birthed is because I want to talk about some particular beliefs that people believe. Religious beliefs. Now I'll be looking over here at my computer, and I'll be looking over here at this computer, and I'll be looking at you with this computer. So my head's going to be spinning all around. Now I want to talk to you about something. Now some of y'all are going to get offended. Really? Yeah. Now let's talk about it for a short few minutes. 14 minutes I have left. I have this certain denomination, and it's very popular. Very popular denomination. There are lots of members. Although there are some 600,000 of those members that are leaving this denomination every year because they're finding it to be factually disrupted, because their facts are uncoordinated and made up. Now that burns me up. Some of these denominations totally made up by the demonic co-conspirators, making up a bunch of stuff. They take the Bible, they take a little bit of truth, so they can, every lie has to have a little bit of truth, so they take to make it believable. So they have this lie, and they take the Bible and they fashion it into a denomination. There's so many denominations today. Why? Well, this denomination is pagan. This denomination came from the Catholics. This denomination this denomination that. Hey, what does the Bible say about that? The Bible says there's only one way, and that's the Jesus way. You got that? There ain't no other way. And Jesus, without a doubt, is the Son of God and the Son of Man. You understand that? And he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. You got to go through it. Now, this is something that, as Christians, followers of Christ, that we believe. Now, it's amazing what people will do to save face. Now, this denomination it didn't exist until some crazy Baptist preacher, he prophesied that the Lord was going to return in 1844. Now there's people that predict the return of the Lord all the time. They predict a month, they predict a day, they predict the hour, blah, 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 and it doesn't happen. Why? Because the Bible says you cannot pick the day and the time and the year. You can't do it. So this cat, he prophesied that Jesus is going to come back in 1844. These are the facts. Now 10,000 people followed this dude, sold their homes, sold their farms, gave away all their earthly possessions, and they were utterly disappointed when Jesus didn't come in 1844 when he was supposed to come. Now, they were in a lot of trouble back in 1844. 10,000 people was a lot of people. This happened up in the Northeast. And so to save face, somebody somewhere suggested that this Baptist haywire preacher misunderstood the Bible, and the event did take place, but it took place in heaven. So that's the belief they settled on, and a new religion was born in 1860. And so what they did with this failed prophecy, they decided to work it into the gospel by setting a mission, a doctrine of the three angels. And they say that these three angels out of Revelation chapter 14 happened in 1844 in heaven. That's what it was. That happened. They were right. He was right. Everybody was right. Nobody was wrong. And they took Revelation chapter 14, and plucked it out the Bible, and then they fashioned it and formed it, and they made him a nice little patty cake of the gospel, and they made him a nice little thing to believe, and they claimed that it fixed everything, and that's what they said. And do you know, in 1844 that might have been possible, but in 2018, how can you say that people can still believe such a thing? Oh, what? Well, let's look at these three angels in Revelation chapter 14, verse number 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth, these redeemed from among men, the first fruits of God unto the Lamb. In their mouth was found no guile, for they were without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, every kindred, every tongue, and every people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of water. So they're saying that in 1844, that this word, the gospel, was proclaimed to every nation, kindred, and tongue. Now that is so far off the hook, it's unbelievable right there. Can you tell me how all of that could happen in 1844? When we're still looking for the telephone, even the telegraph. Because it didn't happen. In 1844, it didn't happen yet. This hasn't happened yet. Right? And they say that in their mouth, and they fly, and they said right here in verse 7, Fear God, for the hour of his judgment has come. So they're saying that the judgment happened in 1844 in heaven. And that's how this Baptist preacher who bumped his head qualified himself to shape it up, and to birth this new denomination. Oh yeah, 1860. Oh yeah. We're going to build this from the Protestants, not the Catholics. Oh, them old Catholics. We don't want them old Catholics in. We don't believe in the Catholics. We're Protestants, you know. And because we're Protestants, you know, why, we're going to, 1860. Yeah, we'll call it a new denomination. And surely there'll be people that'll believe anything we tell them and bring us their tithes and offerings. So this is what it's all about. They say the first angel, this prophecy happened in heaven in 1844. Right? And then verse 8, it says, and there followed, verse 8 it says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. So they're saying that Babylon is fallen now. It's fallen now. Well, I don't have time to get into that right now, but you're going to find that most interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This other denomination out there that has hundreds and thousands of believers. This incognito congregation. You don't really believe that, do you? I mean, in this world of all the fake information we have, don't we need the truth somewhere? Somebody has to say something. And all these different beliefs and denominations, everybody building all these things, and nobody wants to hear the truth. Jesus said, nevertheless, I tell you the truth. John 16:7. So you made a mistake, you predicted something, and it didn't happen. 10,000 people sold everything they had, now they ain't got nothing. So somebody's got to save face. And well, it happened in heaven, that's where it was. And let's see, where can we find a scripture to prove it? Well, let's go to John. Let's go to Revelation 14. And it's the three angels. The three angels in Revelation prophecy. Well, yeah, that's what happened. And so in 1860, it started a new incorrect denomination. Are you believing the truth? Really? 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 Do you believe the truth? Really? Really? Have you checked it out? Are you afraid? Go to the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the Bible. That's where the truth is. Only there can you find it, ladies and gentlemen. And here, because I'm reading it to you right here. Now you can find End Times 4565 on Mixler.com. Mixler, Mixler.com. Every weekday morning, at 10 a.m. Central for 60 seconds. Or you can find me on YouTube. Search End Times 4565. You can find me there. And of course here on Blog Talk, which is turning out to be my favorite place. Now, I wish I could open the phone lines, but you can't do a lot of that in 30 minutes. I mean, all these things going on, everything, talking about everything all the time, and they got all these different beliefs. The three angels, and the it happened in 1844. At the timeline, it's unbelievable. It's really, I can't believe it. People believe in all this stuff. Really? Man, you got to dig out. I can't believe people saying all this stuff, believing all this all the time. Oh man, I'm about wiped out. I got to go, man. I got to go. I'm tired of this.